Hello, I'm Bishop Dennis A. Meredith, pastor of Tabernacle Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, 1041 Moreland Drive. And so here we are again on Word Wednesday. And today I want to talk about a subject that I think everybody seeks after, and that is to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. I think it is a normal, natural quest of any human being to be happy. A state of euphoric feeling, a state of a complete dismissed of anxiety and trouble in mind and conflict, just a state of happiness. And so one of my favorite books that I picked up in my travel is this book on the Dalai Lama, The Art of Happiness. And I thought it had some very powerful words in this book about how to be happy. And one of the things that it says that I think is interesting is that one's source of happiness has to do with your perception. How do you perceive things? How do you look at things? Now, for most of us, we look at things through our own lens. You know, I would look at something different than the way somebody else looks at it because I'm looking at it through my lens. And so what he actually says here is that sometimes in order to secure happiness, you have to change your perception, change the way you see things, change the way you look at things. In other words, is the glass half full? Is the glass half empty? If you look at it from a different way, if you look at the glass half empty, that's a negative premise. If you look at the glass half full, then that's a positive premise. And so it's the way you perceive things. Another thing that he says in the book that I think is very important is that happiness comes from being a compassionate person, a person who's willing to be loving, a person who's willing to be kind, a person who's willing to extend that compassion to others will end up finding friendship and freedom in being compassionate. I thought that was an interesting way to find happiness because people who are not compassionate are usually operating from a place of anger or hatred or disapproval or dislike. But you cannot be compassionate and be hateful. You cannot be compassionate and be angry. You cannot be compassionate and dislike people. And so this kind of way to live with compassion, with changing your perception, he says it is the art of being happy. You will find happiness when you change the way you look at stuff, when you change the way you perceive things. You can see good stuff in even bad situations if you have the perception that looks at it that way. So it's about being loving. It's about being kind. It's about having a change of perception of how you see things. And that brings a sense of happiness. And so let me give you an example. Years ago, I was arrested, spent maybe 5 or 6 hours in jail. It wasn't a long period, but what felt like it could have been a horrible, bad situation. After I got into the cell and began to have conversations with other inmates, I changed my perception of it. And I started thinking, well, what can I learn from this? How can I turn this into a positive spin, a positive situation? And so my perception changed from that of being something negative, horrible, bad, or wrong. And plus the case was dismissed. But anyway, what I did was I turned it into a prison ministry. I ended up doing a prison ministry as a result of understanding and being compassionate towards, okay, this is what it feels like to be arrested. This is what it feels like to be incarcerated, to be in a restricted cell. And so what the Dalai Lama is saying is the art of happiness is you change your perception. You got to change the way you think of life experiences. Change. It's just like how I ended up with cancer. I had to change the way I think. I had an epiphany. Let me turn this into something positive. Let me use this in a way that enhances my life, or to see life from a different lens, or to see life from a more positive perspective. And so one of the things cancer did for me was teach me to appreciate every day that I live, every day that I breathe, every day that God gives me another chance to see another day. I appreciate it and not take life for granted. And so when you change your perspectives on life, it enhances, or it brings a level of happiness, and it's enhanced when you live with compassion and live with loving kindness. So let's make that a practice. Let's live like that. And I am a witness, a living witness. You will find happiness in life. Thank you.